Hello, we're back with a reading vlog, and this one is going to be simply dedicated to reading this book. If you saw my previous vlog, I just picked it up from the library. I wanted to do a vlog for several reasons. I was just thinking this week, kind of reflecting on why I started BookTube, and I don't know, just various thoughts like that. One of the bigger reasons why I started a BookTube channel is because back when I started, which is about 3 years now, I guess, not sure exactly, when I would search BookTube videos, there was just all of these channels where they only read secular books, and I couldn't find very many Christian booktubers. And then once I started one, I found all of you, everybody, eventually. So I guess you just kind of have to join the community to find people. I don't know. But yeah, anyway, when I started it, it was just like, what am I missing here? Or what am I wanting to find on BookTube? And where can I add value? And, you know, just trying to find a specific, I don't know if finding a specific niche is what I was wanting, but I just wanted a place where I could talk about books that no one else was talking about, and also just to simply talk about books with somebody, because I have very few personal friends in my life who love to read as much as I do and love the books that I love, and so I just was having a hard time finding that community to talk about books. But anyway, all that to say is that while I've now found lots of great Christian booktubers who I love and who I love their videos and everything, I'm still not not really doing the same things that they are, in the sense that I'm not one who loves to read the new releases immediately. I'm still trying to play catch up on all of the books that I've missed out on all my life. And again, finding books that I've not heard people talk about, and yeah, wanting people to be aware of these books because they're so great. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with reading the new releases, buying the new books once they're coming out. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I love that there are people here who are staying caught up with the good books and letting people know about them. They're doing a great job of supporting the Christian authors and getting their work out there. It's fantastic. But again, it's not really something I am currently doing. I'm also not saying I'll never do that. But again, just to reiterate, since I am such a chronic mood reader and just finding books that I love to read, it's often books that I'm not hearing people talk about much, mostly because they are books that came out years ago and people have probably already discussed them or talked about them, and I missed it, or else they just, yeah, they're old books and they haven't gotten the spotlight that they need. If all of this is making sense, I hope you guys are understanding me and hearing my heart. But yes, anyway, I wanted to do a vlog to talk about this book because I started reading it, and yesterday, I am currently on chapter 6. I just started, so like 50 pages in, and I was like, wait a minute, I should be doing a vlog so I can talk about this book, because it's 5 chapters in and I'm absolutely loving it already. And it's hilarious, for one thing. I've already cracked up several times, and if I love this book through to the end as much as I'm loving it now, I definitely want people to know about this book because I'm having too much fun with it already. Baby girl just woke up. Let me come back. Yeah, this is for those of you who are interested in hearing about books that aren't quite as popular or as talked about as much. But yeah, I went into the book not really knowing what it was about, except from the title. He fell in love with his wife, so I assumed that they just got married, they didn't love each other. Maybe it's a marriage of convenience type of story, or what. I just wasn't sure because I never read a synopsis or anything. So I just dove in yesterday, and I don't know, I'm having a grand time already, as I said. But the book opens up with James Holcroft, and he's just kind of reminiscing about things. He had lost his wife. I don't know how long ago it was, but he is a widower, and he's just kind of thinking about how things are kind of falling apart at home because he can't really take care of them. So he's thinking what can he do about it? He doesn't want to bring in just a random girl to work for him because that would be improper, him living alone at home. But he also hated the thought of getting married again because he couldn't imagine loving anyone else as much as he loved his first wife, which is so sweet. But then a neighbor comes along and is like, hey, I have this lady here. She's actually my wife's cousin. She has a daughter, but she would be great for you because she could come work for you, do your cooking, do the cleaning, and she also has her daughter who would live with her to make it proper and things like that, whatever. But James kind of figures out that this man is clearly just wanting to get rid of this woman because he's tired of her living in her house, and she's kind of just known as the town gossip. And here, spirit, you can't have that. She's kind of known as the town gossip, and that she's just kind of lazy. She just sits around and talks about people and tries to figure out all of the information about everybody and everything in town. But James does agree to it, and he basically makes a contract that he will keep her in his house, in his home, for 3 months at least. It was more because the woman was like, she doesn't want to be kicked out of another house, so she wanted his word that he would let her stay on for an entire year. But he was like, no, we're gonna only do 3 months and we'll see how it goes from there, that type of thing. Before all of this happened, he had tried hiring other people to come work for him, but they were all just complete and utter failures and fiascos and things like that. It was hilarious. So I'm at the part where she's now been in the home. It's just like the first evening and morning, and there was a whole thing with him trying to teach her how he likes his coffee made. It was hilarious. But yeah, her little daughter Jane, I feel bad for the girl because she doesn't get any love or attention from her mom. Her mom just kind of neglects her because she's so interested in other people and other things. But Jane is just this quiet little girl who observes everything and takes things in, and she's the one who's actually trying to learn how to take care of James's house and make his coffee the way he wants it, because she knows just from being on the back corners of rooms and everything, she hears what people say about her mom, and she hates it. And she hates that she acknowledges the truth of it, that her mom really is lazy and just loves to run her mouth. I don't know, it's a whole thing. It's kind of funny, but the way Jane is like trying to learn these tasks and stuff, and like is actually motivating her mom to do these things, because she's like, Mom, you have to get up and do these things or he's gonna kick us out or whatever. Like, I don't know. So all that to say, I'm gonna bring you guys along on the reading of this book and dedicate an entire video to this vlog. And I will, it will probably have spoilers in it since I will be reading the entire book, but I will give warnings if there are significant parts that could be spoilers if you don't want to know, and I'll do timestamps and everything so you guys can skip ahead. I have no idea if these are the kind of videos you guys are interested in, so feel free to give your feedback on it if you would want me to do more of these, or if you're just like, nah, don't do this, just stick to like brief reviews and reading wrap-ups type of things about certain books, whatever. But we're just gonna try this. I'm having fun with this book already, and so I was like, I'm just gonna bring you guys along, and I hope you guys enjoy it. But if not, it's fine. Well, I don't even know if I will want to do this all the time with every book that I read certainly won't be every book that I read, but anyway, there we go. As I said, I'm just starting chapter 6, and while I was on Goodreads updating that I was reading this book, I did see the synopsis, and I saw the lady's name, like the woman that he actually marries, and it's not this Mrs. Mumpson who just came to like work at his house for 3 months. And I was like, oh, interesting, because I don't like this woman. I don't really like her character and who she is, but maybe there's just gonna be excellent character development and I will like her eventually. Maybe he decides to marry her, all of those things. But I don't think she's the one that he ends up marrying, because I just got to chapter 6, as I said, and this is where Alida, I think is how you would say her name, A-L-I-D-A, where she is introduced. And I saw on the synopsis, if you look it up, you will see this as well, it's not a spoiler, that Alida is actually married to another man, or so she thought. She's not actually married to him. It was some kind of like, she was tricked into this or something. I don't really know exactly. I haven't gotten to that part of the story yet, but it's what the synopsis said. And she then leaves who she thought was her husband, and I'm assuming goes to work as James's house, because the whole thing with Mrs. Mumpson is that he promised to hire another girl to help her out in the house so she doesn't have to do it all on her own, which she's banking on because she's lazy and doesn't want to do anything, and she wants this other girl to help her. So I'm assuming Alida will be that girl. I don't know for sure. We're just gonna find out as we go along. But I was very happy to see her introduced in this book, because then I'm like, yes, so it won't be Mrs. Mumpson. Let's go. Another thing that I will add really quickly here is that I really do love his writing. So this book was published in the 1880s, if I'm not mistaken. But I'm finding it very easy to read, unlike a lot of classics. But I love how he's setting up the story, and I also love how my friend who introduced this book to me, or told me that I need to read it, how she said that he like very thoroughly describes his characters. Like, they're very, very detailed, and I actually really love that, because it really sets you up to know the character. I do like when authors kind of let you kind of figure it out on your own about who the person is, but at the same time, the way he's doing it here, I'm really enjoying it, and it's making me become really attached to the characters right away, the ones that you're supposed to like. And then like Mrs. Mumpson, I'm just like, she is very annoying and obnoxious and he's doing a very good job of setting up each character, and I love it. Anyway, things are happening. Wow. I'm literally just on chapter 7, and she's about to figure out that her whole marriage is fake and a scam. This is still within the first 60 pages, so not spoilers. And you obviously know this is gonna happen based on the synopsis, if you read the synopsis. But anyway, the way he's writing this though is like, I don't know, it's hilarious. But also it's gonna be sad for her when she figures out it's all a scam, because she likes her peaceful little life that she's living. So, I don't know. I'm having too much fun. Also, I did rearrange our living room so that my chair is in front of my bookshelves back there. Lovely. So I love this new setup, because now I can actually just film my videos here in my chair. Anyway, back to reading. Okay, good morning. I wanted to quick give an update while this all is still fresh in my mind. I stayed up way too late reading this book. And that's rare for me when I'm reading older classics and stuff like that, just older books in general, because sometimes, like, even if I'm enjoying them, it still feels like a more difficult read for my brain at night when I'm trying to settle down and go to sleep. This one is not that way. I was eating it up. It's just like comical. I don't know, it's hilarious. I'm having so much fun, as I've said. And yeah, so I don't remember when I last at what point in the story I was, but I'm now at chapter 16, about a third of the way into the book. And yeah, so Alita, who had discovered that she was not actually married to the man she thought she was married to, she's like, obviously just leaves the house and goes desperate to find a place, and she ends up wandering the streets and ends up at a poorhouse. It's where they take her in, and that's all we know of her so far at this point in the book. But back home, dear Mr. James, he is having a time. He had ended up bringing another older woman from the poorhouse back to his house to help Mrs. Mumpson, and her name is Mrs. Wiggins. And these two women are so vastly different, and Mrs. Mumpson, she's still just on her high horse, thinking very highly of herself, has gotten this idea that she's gonna get James to marry her because she can better his life. She's literally doing nothing but sitting in her rocker all day. She just, I can't. Like, she sits in her rocker for a while, rocking back and forth and coming up with these grand ideas and plans to get James to see the benefit of marrying her and how much value she could bring to his life, because she sees so many ways that he needs improvement, and she feels like she can be that woman for him. And it's like, we as the readers know that that is the furthest thing from the truth, because we see who she actually is and how she's just honestly a little lazy and full of herself. I don't know. But Mrs. Wiggins does come in and do her job and whatever, but she and Mrs. Mumpson are not getting along. It's just a lot of hilarious things and interactions happening right now. I wanted to read this little section here because it describes Mrs. Mumpson perfectly, and oh man. She was finally left almost to utter idleness, for Jane and Mrs. Wiggins gradually took from the incompetent hands even the light tasks which she had attempted. She made no protest regarding all as another proof that Holcroft was beginning to recognize her superiority and unfitness for menial tasks. Like what? She would maintain, however, her character as the caretaker and ostentatiously inspected everything. She also tried to make as much noise in fastening up the dwelling at night as if she were barricading a castle. Holcroft would listen grimly, well aware that no house had been entered in Oakville during his memory. Just like her whole thought process. She just thought all of this, like Jane and Mrs. Wiggins were obviously just doing her chores that she was assigned to take care of. They just did it themselves because she wasn't doing them hardly at all or wasn't doing them well enough, and they were just like, this is ridiculous. It's almost like her child Jane is more of an adult than this lady is. Like, she's the child who is not, she's an adult who is acting like a child who was never taught how to do anything. I don't know, but she's so full of herself she doesn't see it. And just like that, how she said that, just thought it was proof that Holcroft saw her superiority and that she was definitely above doing menial tasks. What? Lady, come on. I don't know, it's very, very funny. I'm just wanting to get to the part where he meets Alita. Like, where does she come into the story? Like, and how is it gonna go? But I don't know. It's too fun. I'm gonna keep reading it today. I really do want to finish it today. I don't know if I will. Mostly because I want it read in August. I want to count it as an August read. but we have today and tomorrow, so I should possibly be able to get it finished. Reading it a lot faster than I thought I would, so that's a win. There's the update. So as you saw, I am joining Katie's reading sprints. I keep forgetting that she does them every Friday night, but I'm actually very happy that she's doing them tonight because I don't have any other plans this evening. I thought about doing something because my husband is gone for the evening. He's playing softball with a couple of the local guys from our church in one of the prisons here in our county. There's like a ministry here that we both served with for a couple years, where one of our main focuses is prison ministry. So we have a lot of chaplains that go in, but something that the guys like to do is go in when they can and play sports with some of the guys. But anyway, so that's where he'll be tonight, and so it's just me and Eden here home alone this evening. Eden's actually taking a nap. It's kind of a late one, but she was tired and grumpy, so I'm just gonna let her sleep. But again, I'm happy that Katie's doing the sprints because it's a great opportunity to try to get this book read. Hopefully I can finish it tonight. I should be able to if I just stick to it. So anyway, there we go. I have to add, I don't know why I find these things so hilarious, but just the way that James cannot stand Mrs. Bumpson. I understand why he can't stand her. She would get on my last nerve as well, but something happened that he has decided that she and her daughter Jane have to leave the house, and he's just going to, like, it's before the 3-month contract that he brought up is up, but he's just going to pay her the 3 months wages and send her on her way because he is fed up with her. This section here, he says, "One thing is clear. I can't go on with this Mrs. Bumpson in the house a day longer. She makes me creep and crawl all over, and the first thing I know I shall be swearing like a bloody pirate unless I get rid of her. If she wasn't such a hopeless idiot, I'd let her stay for the sake of Jane, but I won't pay her good wages to make my life a burden a day longer." And with like self-communings, he spent the evening until the habit of early drowsiness overcame him. Gonna send her on her way. Okay, so just got to chapter 19, and I'm over halfway through the book now, and the chapter that I just finished is the chapter where James meets Alita and hears her story and offers her a job to come to his house to work for him because he needs somebody, she needs a home, etc. But because of her circumstances, what happened to her, her name, she sees herself as already like, what's the word I'm looking for? Basically, she's already the gossip of the town, and or she will be if her story gets out, and she doesn't want to bring that on to James. Anyway, she doesn't want to bring that kind of shame onto James because she thinks he's a good man, and so she refuses his offer. She's grateful, but she refuses his offer, and James decides to just look at it as a business arrangement and go to a justice of the peace and get married and be married in name only. And he refuses to go to an actual minister to get married because he feels it would be dishonest to go to a minister and, like, I guess, say the traditional vows of getting married and promising to love someone who he does not love. So he feels like it'd be dishonest and he doesn't want to do that. But he thinks going to a justice of the peace would be sufficient, obviously, because it would be a legal marriage and she would have his name and be in good standing with the community, and all that. And so then he proposes literally this idea to her, and with some trepidation and trying to talk him out of it because she still feels bad, like she thinks it's gonna still give him a bad name to be associated with her. She does eventually agree to it. So I'm excited now because here we go. It's like, yeah, like I said, over halfway through the book and they're just now actually getting married, and I'm just excited to see how it all turns out. And obviously, as the title says, he fell in love with his wife. I'm just so excited to actually follow this, you know, and watch it all unfold. Anyway, back to reading. Y'all, this book, it's too good. Okay, it is 11:15. I'm still up reading, and I'll probably stay up to finish this book because I can't put it down, and it's been so long since I read a book that does this to me, where I have to stay up and find out what's happening. It's just everything. It's so sweet. So sweet. Like the beginning of the book, I was just laughing and having a good time at all of his troubles. It's written in that way that is just kind of humorous, everything he was dealing with, but with the way Alita came into his life and how she's just like transforming his home, his house, into a home again, and the way they're becoming friends. It's too much. It's too much. This line here: as the farmer had hoped, they had become excellent friends, supplementing each other's work in a way that promised prosperity. It's just the sweetest thing. I am on page 227. Let me get down in frame here. There are 333 pages in this book. So I'm almost just a little over 100 pages left. So you guys have to read this book. It's too good. So it is actually Tuesday afternoon. I finished this book Friday night, and I never did a closing clip to, you know, to finish out the video. So here I am. As you could see in all of the clips, I absolutely adored this book. It was just so good. I'm so glad I read it. Thank you, Nicole, for recommending it to me. Also, I went on eBay and found a beautiful copy. And currently I am the highest bidder, and it ends soon, like the bidding time. So I think I'm gonna get it, and I'm so excited. I cannot wait. I'm just very excited to own my own copy so I can reread it, highlight certain pages, certain lines. I went and looked on Amazon, and the book was free on Kindle. Sorry about the baby jabbers that you're hearing. Hope you can hear me. But anyway, it was free on Kindle yesterday. Not sure if it will still be free when this video goes up, but anyway, I own it on Kindle now, so that's great. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just glad I read this book. And my friend who recommended it, she said she had never heard of it before either, and she randomly found the book at an estate sale and read it and loved it. And so, yeah, I don't know. If any of you guys out there watching my videos have read this book as well, let me know what you thought about it, because I can't imagine someone not loving it. If you don't like classics, if you don't like older style of writings and books and things like that, I understand why you wouldn't really like it, but I can't see anyone hating this book. You know, I just don't know that it could be possible. But if you did read it and you hated it, let me know why, and are you okay? But when it got to the part where they started becoming friends, and then they both started falling in love with the other one, but you know, they weren't really communicating that, partially because they had agreed to that it would just be more like a business arrangement. They weren't expecting to fall in love with each other, and it was just like a whole little bit of a miscommunication trope at the end there. But I think it was handled well, and it was actually, again, E.P. Rowe's writing is just great, and it was humorous, but the way it all came together, I loved the book so much, and I can't recommend it enough. Alita and her character were just so precious, and I loved her and her attitude about life. Even though she faced some hard things, she was just so grateful to have a home and to make it a home. She was just an inspiration to me as a wife and a homemaker. So, but James as well, his character, he has such a kind heart. I can't say enough good things about this book and the characters. I adored them. This will probably be my favorite book of the year. I'm saying it right now. Probably will be my favorite book of the year. Yeah, it's just so good. But anyway, I must add that there was actually some really good faith content in here as well. I believe E.P. Rowe was a minister. I think maybe a Presbyterian minister, but I'm not actually sure, so don't quote me on that. But I loved the faith elements in this book. But yeah, 5 stars all around. So good. Let me know if y'all enjoyed this type of video, and if you want me to do more books like this that I've never heard anyone talk about, and I'm assuming you guys haven't ever heard of it either. I want everyone to be able to enjoy the experience of reading good books like this that have kind of been forgotten about, maybe, possibly. I don't know. Again, I don't know. I'm sure, I know I'm not the only one who's ever read this book, but it's not, I've never heard it talked about until my friend recommended it. So, you know what I'm trying to say. My whole thing that I said in the beginning about why I started my particular channel was to talk about books that I don't really see other people talking about, and it's a struggle. The TBR is forever growing, especially with all of the new authors and the new books that are being released every month, every year. But then there's so many books like this from years past that I haven't gotten to yet, that are sitting undiscovered and sitting unread on shelves somewhere. But they're so good, and you know, I just want to get the word out, let you guys know, so that you can also pick up these books that have been forgotten and read them and enjoy them as much as I have. But anyway, there's my spiel. Let me know if you did enjoy this video, if you want to see more, you know, like specific reading videos for just one book or something, so that I can actually talk about it in depth or share my reading experience of it, you know? Just let me know if it's something you'd be interested in. I personally enjoyed it, but also I think it's because I really enjoyed the book. I don't know if I will enjoy every type of video like that. It all depends on the book, probably. But anyway, thank you guys for watching, for being here, for supporting my channel. I really do appreciate it. It means so much. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.